kant moet hy wys.
Hy's klaar live. Okay.
Speel hy daaronder? Ek gaan gou vir Jamie sê. Jamie, we're just busy with the recording, okay?
Ja, hy's live, mense kyk.
Okay, welcome! You're in the factory. It's complete chaos. I had to borrow mascara and lipstick because there was no makeup left on my face. Today's inspiration is Father's Day. Just quickly let me know if the sound is good. Can everybody hear? Amanda, we're just busy with a live recording. So we just ask everybody just to quiet down. You in the factory, you in our workspace, so we're going to take it just as it comes. There might be customers walking in, so bear with us. We are running around, waiting for raw materials to arrive. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to inspire you and quickly go through steps on a whitewash technique. Danielle is our video lady. The name that the chocolate color that's named after her is Daddy's Day, one of my favorites. And later you will meet Precious. So Precious will be visible so that everybody can see the face behind the paint color. When doing a whitewash technique, it is important to work on raw surfaces, either raw cement, raw timber, or raw brick surfaces. You are going to see we're going to add paint and glaze together to make a sealed whitewash finish on a raw timber board. This is also going to be a gift for Father's Day, a biltong board or a cutting board for Dad. So we are launching later today 2 stencils, one from Daddy's Little Girl. You will be able to see it on our website on the 30 by 30 stencil designs. There's a beautiful stencil from a daughter to her father, and here's one from a son to his dad. Let me show you the techniques, and then we are going to start to play together. So I have a few mixed colors, but first I'm going to show you how to mix it yourself. And then we're simply going to have fun and whitewash our board. So when we want a sealed whitewash finish, something that you want to rinse under a tap like a cutting board, not soak in water though, but to rinse under a tap, or even if you want to wash a wall outdoors. And in one single step, you have a whitewashed sealed surface. We combine chocolate paint in the color of your choice and clear glaze together. We start with equal quantities. Now remember, with chocolate, there aren't any rules except for 2. The first one, very important rule, is to make sure before you paint that your surface is green. Sorry for that, I can't switch off my phone's ring tone. Is it fine, Danny? Can I continue?
Yes.
On previously varnished surfaces, if you want to chalk paint on previously varnished surfaces, make sure your varnish is older than 6 months and that you clean it well with lacquer thinners. That's the first very important rule with charcoal. Make sure your surface is grease-free, oil-free. The other very important rule is not to glaze less than 4 hours after you've painted. So allow the paint to cure for at least 4 hours before you start the glazing process, else the glaze will remove the paint. Other than that, those 2 rules, you are not restricted to try things yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix Jane's Jade, more or less equal quantity, with our Jane's Jade with equal quantity clear glaze. So I have a glass jar. You don't need much. Yes, you can put this mixture on your shelf, as long as there's no water in it, it does not get contaminated. So it's more or less, I'm measuring with the eye. What I usually do, once I start applying the whitewash, line wash effect, and I see my color is too light, I add more paint. If I feel my color is too dark, I add more glaze. And now what I do is I mix the two together. Now just to go back before there's any confusion. This is not when we paint normally. So when we paint normally, you paint with your paint and you glaze. The mix we do only if we want to apply a line wash or a whitewash effect on a raw timber, raw brick or raw cement surface. So I mix my Jane's Jade, and I have similar mixes like this on the table. There is Stefan, Stone Wash, Coral Stone, Denisa Stream, Sheriff Stone, so it's a few different colors. Whitewash does not mean that you are only going to work with white paint. What whitewash technique implies is that you still want to see the grain of the wood. Okay, very important with whitewash is to have damp cloths available. So I have a bucket with water and I'm going to dampen my cloths. The reason for damp cloths are the following. The damper your cloth with a whitewash technique, the easier you can blend and wipe your paint, mix paint with glaze on your surface. When I, for instance, whitewash a brick wall inside a room, I don't mix glaze with my paint. Then I just mix my paint with water for a whitewash effect inside a room where it doesn't need to be a sealed surface. I hope it makes sense. This is going to be Dad's cutting board. We want to rinse it quickly underneath the tap and dry it, and that's why I'm mixing paint and glaze together. And now what I do is I put some paint on my damp cloth. My board is wet from the cloths, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I can dampen it to even spread the paint easier on the surface. And now I wipe. And can you see, I don't know if it's visible, but can you see how the paint just sits in the grooves, and depending on the density of the wood, you will get different results on different areas. So I'm going to stop there with Jane's Jade. Then I'm going to go with some Dumisa. Sorry, you know me by now. I just get dirty. And now, in the same breath, this is a blending, whitewashing technique. And I want to add more Jane's Jade in here. And now see what I'm doing. I feel that my initial Jane's Jade is too light. I want to give it more oomph. So I add more chalk paint into my glaze. So that my initial first wipe is darker. There's some Dumisa flowing into the Jane's Jade. Then we're going to play with some, let's go with a grey Stone Wash. So you can still see the grain of the wood. And I blend the colours one into the other. So you can see how the colours just flow into each other. And I'm going to end it off with Jane's Jade again. Just some colour inspiration. And the moment you want to remove some of the colour, I just go to a cleaner side of my cloth, gently wipe so that the colors just flow one into the next. And as a last touch, so I'm also in the same breath, I'm blending, but I'm also layering. I'm just going to add some Stefan. So I put some Stefan, which is a very light, warm grey colour. And I'm just going to very lightly wipe over my board. So it actually transforms this into a driftwood piece with some colour inspiration. Make sure always your edges are done nicely in the grooves, crevices. Daddy, how are there any questions?
Is hierdie stencil beskikbaar in Afrikaans?
Nee, hy is nie, maar as jy vir ons 'n e-pos stuur, sal ons hom vir jou probeer vertaal baie vinnig. It was actually Danny, when we decided on the stencil, she asked, shouldn't we make it available in Afrikaans? I said, no, don't worry, but we can do it. Yes, Danny. Is there another question?
Another question is, hi Nadine, I just started watching now. Is that a wet cloth or is it thinners or water?
Okay, so for any paint technique, valid point, we always use a damp cloth, dampen with water. We only use thinners right at the beginning when we need to clean a surface. Raw timber surfaces I don't clean. So make sure they are clean, dust-free, and then we start painting. Previously varnished surfaces, wall tiles, metal surfaces. If there is rust on your metal, you first need to treat the rust with a rust converter. Follow the instructions on the product, and then only start painting. Okay, so thinners is only right in the beginning when you clean a surface. Any paint technique, you do require to have a damp cloth available. What the damp cloth does, it allows the paint to spread or blend easily. Just water. Okay, any more, Danny?
Nadine, net die stencil weer wys.
Okay, so this is one for Dad. Dear Dad, words may never be enough of how proud I am that you are my dad. Years may not be sufficient to count it all with your life. I am truly grateful. Thank you for your sweet embraces and for your patience that never ceases. Thank you because you are always there. Thank you for your never-ending cares. For that, my daddy, I say thank you, your son. And then there's a beautiful one from a daughter as well. What I'm going to do on this surface, I'm going to apply our stencil of Paris, but I'm going to mix it with some chocolate paint. So just stand there, don't move. I'm just getting a board and I'm going to spoil. And I'm going to, let Suzuki put some matte black somewhere. Let's use what's available. I'm going to add some stencil, some sheriff stone in here.
Hier is
So, is there? Will someone pass me the matte black? I think it's left somewhere.
in hierdie rooi krat, Stef.
There. So stencil of Paris is a product that we use. Thanks, Steffi. Thank you so much. To use to apply stencil work. It sets rock hard. Something that I can also show you. Let's do it. You can mix. I have a new idea. You can mix paint, chocolate paint, into your stencil of Paris to change the color. Okay, let's do it. And then on the daughter board, I'll show you if you want to keep it quite simple with a shadow effect. I'll show you that as well. So I'm going to, you need very little chocolate paint. So I want to change the color of my stencil of Paris space. Now the stencil of Paris space, for those that are new, is a paste that sets rock hard, but it also gives your stencil work a raised effect. If you look on the table that I'm working on, this was a melamine table, office table, that we stenciled with a stencil of Paris and then painted Danny steroid. On the floor, it's a cement floor. We don't recommend tile floors, but that's stencil of Paris on paint, on black paint on a cement floor. So it gives your stencil work a raised effect. If you look behind me, here it was applied to a wall. And you can see how it gives a raised effect. And I've shown in previous videos how to wash over it with different designs. This is also a stencil of Paris. Can you all see, Danny? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add a little bit of matte black chalk in my stencil of Paris. So I've dipped my paint scraper more or less a centimeter into my paint. And now I'm mixing this paint into the stencil of Paris base. Once it dries 2 to 3 shades darker. So just bear that in mind when you do your mix. Also don't mix too much paint, else the paste will be too runny and it will leak underneath your stencil. So I'm mixing. To do stencil work, secure your stencil with some masking tape. I'm not going to do it. So let's hold thumbs that everything is fine. And I spread the stencil of Paris on top of my stencil. Now, very important, when you are done doing this, wash your stencil in water and you can reuse your stencil again. But don't allow the space to dry on your stencil, then it's quite difficult to remove it, then it requires some soaking. So I'm just patiently stenciling my board. All the areas, and I make sure I apply it evenly everywhere. If you have returned back to work with level 3 restrictions, let us know how your days are. And let us know if you also experience new things to get used to. So I just applied everywhere. My board is not that even, so it won't be perfect in the grooves, but I do not mind that. I am so proud of all the creations we see on the Choco Creations page. You girls are so amazing. This morning when I woke up at 5, there was a question, is Choco paint chalk paint? And I answered the question and I realized that everything we do at Choco Paint, we do with so much passion. I think if you open that jar of paint, you will just feel the love. I'm going to express myself more on that. My stencil work is now complete. I'm just making sure it's everywhere, applied evenly. I take my fingernail, I lift it, and there is something pretty beautiful for Dad. And once, there's just a whitewash part that's still drying. Once this dries, it will dry 2 to 3 shades darker, so Dad will be able to read his entire message from his son. And then of course you can dish it up. You can add paint console jars, put some biltong sticks in it, put a ribbon around it. How do we paint on glass? You clean your jars well with lacquer thinners, allow 20 to 40 minutes drying time, use a Hamilton's brush, enzyme brush, I prefer, and then you paint on top of your glass, and you can put biltong sticks, bread sticks in here for Dad, biltong bread, and serve him with something nice. Something that I will do right at the end when my board has dried. I will just add another glaze coating, seeing that we are going to use this as a biltong board or a cheese board. And what I will do, and now remember what I've said right in the beginning, with charcoal there aren't rules except for those two: cleaning well and wait at least for 4 hours before you apply your glaze once you've painted. So to make the glaze, on the instructions of the glaze we say add 30% water. But if I want a less of a sheen on my glaze, especially for a decorative item like this, I will mix my glaze with half glaze, half water. And I'll just add another coating of my glaze and I know I'll still have a matte sealed surface. So that's how you can manipulate your glaze's sheen level. Just add more water. Kitchen cupboards, continue to use as we recommended, but for decorative items, you can play around. Okay. So this is Dad's from his son, his daughter. Okay, so to return to charcoal and the passion. I've now worked for 3 weeks in the factory with the people at the back, and to tell you the honest truth, do you know how much effort and love goes into every charcoal bottle? I have cut these wax papers myself. They have never complained doing it, and I've complained now non-stop since Saturday, since I've helped them. I don't have skin left on my fingers, and they never complain. This is cut by a person to make sure when you open your console charcoal jar that you can open it easily. Okay? This ribbon is tied around this bottle with hands. It's not a machine. These stickers are done by people with their hands. And to do all of this, we are facing COVID-19. There needs to be social distancing, there needs to be sanitation, and the entire process takes so much time, but never once have they complained. And I just realized, working with them in the factory, how resilient our people are and how they love what they do. You're going to meet Precious later. They are proud that their names, our names, everybody's names, we're one huge charcoal family, is on a jar, and you are connected to a colour that's being shipped to New Zealand, to Namibia, hello Namibia, Salome if you're there, to all the parts of the country. So when you open a jar of charcoal, just take a moment and realize all the love and effort that goes into that. Okay, back to our Father's Day gift. We are going to do something more neutral for Dad on this board. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to whitewash it with Stefan. And we all are different. Some people like color, some like muted tones, and it's good as long as you are happy. So it's equal quantities Stefan and glaze that was mixed together like we've shown on a damp cloth, and I'm wiping my board, my raw timber board, with my mix. So this is a very muted effect. You can still see the wood grain, you can still see the colors. The stencils will also be available at our stockers. They've received an email earlier today that it's available to order, so inquire from your nearest stockist as well. Okay, so this is now whitewashed and sealed in one single step. And look how stunning this is. I would love a cheese board like this, honestly. And once you start, you don't want to stop. I love these sessions because then I don't need to do admin. Okay. Or pack a box. I won't complain about the packing of the boxes, although I really badly want to. Okay, so this is a whitewash in one color. Beautiful, muted, subtle, and stunning. Now I'm going to show you how to create a shadow effect with your stencil work. So I'm using a stencil brush. It has short, stiff bristles. I'm dipping it in my matte black. And now, very important, is to remove any excess paint, else it will just leak in underneath your stencil. Once you've done the whitewash, and just allow some 20 minutes for drying time. We're not going to do it. I'm just going to start with the stenciling. So I've removed any excess paint. My stencil brush is so dry. Can you see on my hand it leaves streaky marks? And then you know it's dry enough. Okay, not too wet. Although the pattern on my stencil is very small, you need a little amount of paint. Secure your stencil with masking tape. I'm taking a shortcut. Don't do it. And I'm moving in circular movements. It's easier than dabbing. Then you also get a more even application of your stencil work. And you remember how dry my stencil brush initially was? And I'm just simply adding more paint of my almost dry board. Danny, you just need to book out that board that I've grabbed off the shelf.
I will.
Are there questions, Danny?
Yes.
Okay, ask them while I'm busy stenciling and then I'll answer them.
Okay. The first one is, how thick do you apply the mixture over the stencil when you were doing the stencil of Paris?
Okay, so it depends completely. It's up to you completely. If you want a more of a raised effect, you apply it thicker. But then you will see as you pull it, it lifts up the stencil work, so it's really raised. And what I usually then do is I allow for the stencil of Paris to dry very well, 2 to 4 hours depending on the weather, and then you sand it lightly to get a very even application. If you want a thinner application, you just apply less. So it's
If I order online, from how long does the delivery take?
okay, so we are currently facing COVID-19 challenges. I think everybody in the manufacturing industry is affected by this. We currently have a backlog due to the fact that we were closed for 5 weeks, then returned with orders from online as well as stockers. So everything is attended to with great urgency. The manufacturing at the back is not affected by online orders, as we've brought in extra admin staff like Danny, Steffi and Yolandra. Steffi and Yolandra is actually supposed to be working on the paint mask side, and they are assisting with online orders. So to be honest with you, if we don't have stock of an item, we'll phone you to tell you there's a problem, we're waiting. The couriers have got backlogs with their deliveries. On the manufacturing side, our raw material manufacturer, one of the components, a factory that manufactures a component, raw material, only could open on Monday. When they opened their factory, there were leaks and they had to close down their factory. So every day we face new challenges. We take every day as it comes. We remain positive and we do our best to send orders out as soon as possible. But it is not the way it was before lockdown. So patience, please. We're working Saturdays and Sundays, us and our people, to make sure that everything is attended to with great urgency. You will be contacted if there's not something specific that you've ordered in stock. I can't give a definite answer, although I so badly want to. Just be rest assured, we're doing our best under circumstances.
Can I whitewash on a previously painted surface?
Yeah, you can, but then you won't mix your paint with the glaze. If you go back to our videos that we've done in the past, you will see we've done a washed effect. That is to create that mottled effect. Then you simply take your damp cloth. You don't mix your paint with something. I'm going to do it with a black so that you can see what I'm doing. You mix your paint onto your cloth. Mix it in well onto your damp cloth. And then you do this. I'm going to do it on the wall, Danny. So you hold your cloth like a ball in the palm of your hand. And on a previously washed painted surface, you'll wash like this to create a mottled wash effect. Very soft, even pressure. Suzuki is going to die. If he sees what I'm doing to his wall, he'll just do the entire wall like this. Frikkie, don't look. Please go read Frikkie's post on our Facebook page. Jaco Klopper's post that he posted earlier this morning. Then you will see why I need to shout everything to him. His ears are blocked. I'm joking. Ja, Frikkie, jy my nodig.
Ek kom loer wat maak jy.
Okay, so and if I want to change again, just pretend there's no mixture. I'm just going to add some Stefan on my cloth just to make it pretty. Wash with Stefan over this. And there you have a wash effect on a previously painted surface. And I'll continue to make sure it's pretty, but I hope the steps make sense. Okay, yours will be flat, and look, there are videos where we show that. Okay, back to Dad. I think dads need an extra hug in these times because they are the ones that need to stay strong and focused and need to carry all our worries. So we'll make sure dads get appreciated during COVID-19 and Father's Day. Okay, so I'll make sure it's done nicely, evenly, and voila. Look how stunning that is. Hey, Danny?
Dit lyk baie mooi.
Okay, so now if you want to do a shadow effect, what I'm going to do is, okay, if you want to leave it like that, it's perfectly fine. Remember what I've mentioned previously. Mix your glaze with 50%, so half glaze, half water, and just allow this to dry for 4 hours. You need to, because there's no chalk or there, else the glaze will remove it. Allow it to dry for 4 hours, then you just wipe your glaze mix that we tweaked now on this to provide extra protection, but also to keep the board matte. Danny, does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So how do I create a shadow effect? I put my stencil back in place as it was when I started stenciling with the paint. And now, the easiest to explain it is your stencil needs to make a movement of either up or down and either left or right. So I'm going to move my stencil 1/4 centimeter. It's about 2.5 millimeters, so it's very little. Up, and I move it right. And I take my paste that I've mixed with paint, or you can leave it white. You can paint on top of the stencil of Paris like we've done there. And I spread it. Secure your stencil with masking tape, please. On top of my painted stencil work. Make sure it's evenly, nicely. As you can see, I don't do it too thick, but it's completely up to you. The drying time also depends on how thick you apply the stencil of Paris and the weather conditions. Cool, cloudy days will take longer. So everybody that has met Maestro before, with everything happening, Maestro had to go to the vet early this morning because he ate something and he's got infection in his intestines. Last night we didn't sleep, we had a baby in the house. He literally sat on our bed and moaned as if he wanted to say, please help, something is wrong. Kaylee was in tears because it's her child and she hardly slept as well. Maestro is feeling better, I believe. And great news I want to share with you is my parents are on their way from the Cape to come and help Danny. So that Kaylee has someone at home when she needs to do her online schooling, and someone is there to fetch Jaco from the bus stop when he returns from school. Okay, so I'm happy. Everything is covered, it's applied nicely, evenly. I take my fingernail, lift it up, and there we have a shadow stencil effect to my dad. How stunning is that? Dad can even hang it up, put it up in his man cave, a special place to Dad, in his office. Okay, now, arrangements for the rest of the week. It is busy with us and we are running around, so there won't be any online class on Thursday. But on Saturday, we have an event with the Toys and Home magazine. Vickers Pretorius, the editor of the Home and Toys magazine, is going to be part of this entire experience. We are going to have a live session where you can actually paint with me. So the link, I've sent it on our Facebook page earlier this afternoon, right before this session, where you can go and purchase a ticket. A ticket is 65 Rand, but then the entire family can join. The home team then will send you an email of everything that you need, nothing expensive. What we've tried to focus on is things you have in your house. So you simply just need to bring a jar of charcoal, nothing else. The rest of the items will be, we are going to do stamp work on fabric, so it will be things you have available in your house. And we are going to share the most amazing and creative ideas during that session. And you'll paint with me while we do it. Ask your questions. It's a lovely platform. We've tested it this morning. We have a professional cameraman that will be present. And there will be 3 sessions. So if you buy tickets for both 3 sessions, it's 150 Rand to join all 3. And we will focus on upcycling. Please support us and the Home and Toys and Home team. They've been remarkable. They've really been such a support throughout this entire COVID-19 time. So please support us. And then hope you can make Dad something fabulous. Danny, thank you for walking away from your workstation. I know you need to do sales orders. Love you all. Thank you for the immense support. Stay safe, and I hope to see you on Saturday. It will be 11:30, and you can tune in 24 hours later as well if you've missed it. Keep well and safe. Bye.